All right, and we are recording. So I made oh, that was David sneezing downstairs. I'm going to hide this notification, and you'll see that I have two screens up, and that is because one of them I'm going to be looking at the course, and the other one, these are for my notes. So to get to the course, you just have to type in tinyurl.com/remote course. We hit enter, and it's something you can look at. It's not necessarily something you even need to edit, much less would want to edit. So here's the first little title page, Teaching in the Future. And this is like the first slide that asks some questions. So here it says grab a notepad, a planner, paper. When you see this icon, I'm actually going to be using this for that. So what will you learn? Questions that you can ask, scheduling tips, a little life-work balance, some lesson design, and some resources. I want to take a moment and address this right here. Whenever you take on something new, it's normal to have a moment of apprehension. So if you find yourself feeling like an imposter, please know you're not alone, and that's perfectly normal. Congratulations. So what are you hoping to get out of this course? So I'm actually going to answer this. I am hoping to figure out, because that's exactly why I made it, I'm hoping to figure out how to teach during these times. So that's why I made this, so that I could kind of figure it out, because I learn best by teaching. So if you have ideas you want to share with me, you can click right there and that'll take you to my Twitter. So hello, my name is Jenna Rogers, and I'm kind of trying to figure out this remote teaching. So I figured I'd make this little course. Here are a few really nice not book tags, hashtags and Twitter resources. So write down these Twitter resources, because you'll find so much awesome stuff. So hashtag better together. I think I'm also going to add, I know I put at teachers give teachers. This is, oops, no, teachers give teachers. There's also, I think this is, I'm just going to put this whole coachben.org, especially like K-2 or anything ed tech. Let me see, hashtag ed tech. Now that I'm here, I'm just trying to think of all the different ones. Hashtag Q chat. All right, so I'm getting a little carried away, but that's the moral of the story, is that now if you do something like that, you can write it down somewhere. You can go back through and check out those resources. So this is where you would pause, go check out the resources. I'm going to take a sip of this very unhealthy beverage and see you in a moment. Go ahead and pause me. It's all good. I don't mind. You're back. All right, let's move on. So first thing I'm always going to say is that you need to plan your self-care. You're about to take on a whole new learning experience. It's going to change, not this course. I meant like teaching in August is going to change a lot of things. And so really kind of like plan out your self-care. What are the things that you do that fill your bucket? Because you cannot be an empty vase pouring out good stuff on other people. You can't water a garden with no water in your garden water tin thingy. So really, truly be honest with yourself about those insecurities. Understand where they come from. They're not necessarily true. They're just these thoughts that come to us. So here's some ways that I like to do that. Whether that's hugging somebody, sometimes you can even hug yourself. And that sounds strange, but it's true. I like to focus on gratitude, meditate, journal, go outside. And in fact, when I'm really kind of in a funk, I can play NSYNC's No Strings Attached album and just kind of like do a little clean dance situation around the house and feel better. So what is your self-care plan, and what is your defunk plan, and what are the things that bring you joy to do? So I'm going to go to my notes. Oopsie. Excuse me. All right. So first of all, my self-care plan, I actually have a morning routine. Ooh, I wrote plain. Morning routine that involves meditation, gratitude, journaling, and yoga. It also involves learning Spanish with Duolingo. So it's really good for your brain. One of the reasons why I like to quilt is it's really good for your brain to see undeniable progress. So what are going to be the things that you're going to do to take care of yourself? What's your defunct plan? Yesterday, David surprised me and he drew me a bath. If you hear screaming, it's because he's downstairs playing, I think, probably a scary game on the thing that's downstairs. So if you hear screaming, I promise there's nothing scary happening here. It's just David playing a game. All right, so I got a hot bubble bath. I like to put some oils in it and some music. And then I watched some Bob Ross. And there are life lessons in Bob Ross. So many. Like, everyone needs a friend is a life lesson that I learned from Bob Ross. Or mistakes are part of the process. And it's your world and you can do what you want. Like, those things don't seem super connected, but it really meant a lot. It meant a lot yesterday. And then what are things that bring you joy? I love chatting with my friends and playing with my dogs and cats, quilting, crocheting, doing booktube, doing the workshop Wednesdays. That brings me so much joy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how many folks showed up to that. That was just lovely. I also like the garden. I know this is really an unstable. At least this is most of it instead of this little corner. So go ahead and pause me again and go right ahead and write down those things. What is going to be your self-care plan? Are you going to and like, don't go crazy. Don't say like, oh, I'm going to work out an hour a day. Because, I don't know about you, but I know I won't. So like my meditation is 10 minutes. My yoga is like 20. Well, I built up to like 20, 30, but that's going 5 minutes at a time. So hush me up, pause me, and go write about the things that make you feel happy, make you feel light, make you feel bright, and all that good stuff. And for my friends who might be a little, what's that word I'm looking for? Might be a little like, oh, Jenna, there's actually science behind all of this. If you do a little bit of research in neuroscience, you learn that there's something called the spotlight effect that Mel Robbins talks about in the 5-second rule. And it's all about you focus on what you focus on. And so you can either unintentionally let your focus wander, or you can focus on things like gratitude, like meditation, like gardening thing, and really feed your soul, but also it does good, healthy things for your brain. It's true. All right. Number 1, get unplugged. Figure out a time in which you are not going to touch your phone, your computer, anything. Just stay away. So, well, not stay away because you need it, but really plan some time to get away from technology. So, what's your relationship with technology like right now? And how do you want to change that relationship? And like, what tips would you share with others on your social media that they could benefit from the relationship with tech? Like, what tips would you have? I wrote graden. I like to go graden. All right. So the times I'm really specific. I don't pick up my phone until about 9 a.m. I pick it up to do meditation, but that's the only app that I open. So what is my relationship with tech like? My relationship is really healthy. I am not on all the time. I have specific times. See, specific times that I'm disconnected, and that is really good for me. How do I want to change my relationship with tech? I might want, let me move this up and move this down. I might want to schedule more things. I might want to want to schedule. And I mean like using Hootsuite or some other free thing to share resources, maybe not all in a glut, but like throughout the day or throughout the week. And the tips that I give, I really talk about block scheduling, putting your phone physically somewhere away from yourself. When you are, and I misspelled physically. Yes, I know. It's not the point. If you put some physical distance between you and your phone, if there are times when I'm like, oh, I need to send that email, and I'll grab my phone and I'll pick it up. But the second that I pick it up, I'm not talking about my email anymore. How long is this? God, this is too long. All right, so I'm going to try to get through these. Separate your phone from where you are. Really take time. Oh, when you wake up in your phone, when you realize that you're in your phone and you're not sure how you got there, really think back to what were you thinking right before you grabbed your phone, and that'll usually help you stay focused on the task that you actually meant to do. That is my tip, is to get unplugged and really plan that time. From the time I wake up until the time, like 9 a.m., that's my very first time I check. I check all my social media, I check my email, and then I go away and I do my mid-morning block that has nothing to do with being connected to the internet. I might be doing writing on my computer, but I'm not on the internet social media piece of it. After lunch, I'll check it a second time. And it's not always true. Like right now it's 3:24. This is normally not a time that I would be on my computer, but because I wanted to make this video, that's where we are. So then after 7 p.m., I put my phone down and I'm pretty much done. I have gotten a little off of that because I've been wanting to answer comments and questions about like the Wednesday workshop and all that stuff. However, I'm going back to this stuff. So decide how much time for yourself. How much time do you want to be unplugged? Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I might need to be plugged in a little bit more than I thought I did. So what are the times that you want to when do you want to be unplugged? I want to stay unplugged during the morning. It's when I get a lot of my good meditation, yoga, writing, all that good stuff in. Again, not the important thing. I want to I'd probably want to get a little more plugged in before lunch and maybe add a last. I want to do it right before bed because I don't want like that blue light kind of stuff, etc. And I'll write optional. So for yourself, really think about like how much time do you want to be on your phone? How much time do you want to be working? It's like the thing from working from home for workaholics like me is that I could be working all day, every day. And that's not good. Hence, planning your self-care. Okay, tip number 2 is to get clear on what your district expects from you. Be patient because everyone's kind of figuring it out right now. So they may not have the answers, but it's really, I think, important to know what questions to ask. So here are some questions that I thought of. If you thought of different ones or if you thought of better ones, will you please let me know on Twitter or in the comments down below. So when are you expected to be accessible? Are you expected to be accessible, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at any point? How are you expected to be accessible? Do you need to be having live experiences? Will there be live class sessions? Will you record yourself and then do weekly checks? I can't seem to read today. Oh, how will we be expected to keep track, or how will you be expected to keep track of your time? Let me see here. How will you be expected? There we go. To keep track of your time. Are you going to be asked to keep a timesheet? What's the level of accountability? Where does it come from? Who are you accountable to? And how are the grades expected to submit? Now, I put this course out before the end of the school year, and I know some schools are still going on. But even going into next year, really, what does this look like? So I'm not going to go ahead and type all this out because you've seen my process for taking notes. I'm using Google Keep. So use your own. Go ahead and pause me and come up with these answers. Like, go ahead and go first, check your email and see if there's already an email from your district answering any of these questions. Go right ahead. Go ahead and pause me. You can read these. All right, welcome back. Tip number 3 is to get real and ditch the outcome. So many times we're such comparative creatures, comparing, the end of year gifts, or comparing, teachers. Just the comparison stuff gets us nowhere. So just really get real and ditch the outcome. When I started this project, it is just for me to figure out how I was going to teach. And it has led to some pretty awesome ideas that I've been able to use in my classroom. So really, the outcome doesn't really matter. I know that sounds crazy coming from a teacher. But what I'm talking about is your practice and your professional development. It does not necessarily have to be perfect. So really pour your energy into things that will work no matter where we're going to be. And for me, that involves tracking sheets and interactive online lessons that I can use either way. So go ahead and pause me and think about what tools or resources or programs, that routines, anything that you're going to use no matter how instruction looks. In fact, I think I might have something to show you in case you are curious. All right, so we are at 17 minutes, which is way longer than I wanted. So here's an example of what I'm talking about when I say what I'm going to be focusing on. So over here, let me see if I can move this. Will you move out of my way? No? All right, well, that's fun. All right, so here I have, this is your tracker. Let me go into Lexia, and all of these are color-coded and in both English and Spanish. These are the minutes that students would track. There will be a rubric where they can grade themselves. And then once a week, I'll be meeting with the families. If it's digital, if it's physical, maybe I'll do once a month, something like that, so that I know that the parents are looking at the sheet, that they have access to it. So this is going to be for August. As you can see, it's in one comment. And then it's the same thing with Prodigy, the minutes that they're going to spend, as well as MobyMax. So that's what that looks like. It's just an example of something that I'm going to use no matter what school looks like. Going on to, thank you, I understand. So useful. Number 4, make a weekly schedule. What are going to be the standards that you're going to address? Number 1, how will you address them? All of this is right there. So really, truly, there's so much stuff out there. Go ahead and hit pause and do a little research. There's something called PORTS that comes through the National Park Service, and you can do a little bit of research and you can go in and find virtual field trips that you could sign your kids up for. There's also zoos that have live feeding cameras. When I was doing a unit on animal habitat, I went back to it over this digital learning stretch we just finished. I think it was he ended up doing 8 weeks of, maybe it was 6, 7, I don't know, quite frankly lost track. And the point is that I was able to bring back that learning and that vocabulary with these live feed cams. There's also wildlife enthusiasts that put up cameras in specific areas and trails that are really heavily populated, and they are really good, especially because they show the biodiversity of an area. There's also virtual tours that you can get on YouTube for free. I took my kids to the Sphinx. Draw-alongs, I used Kids Art Hub, sharing time. So go ahead and pause me and just for a moment, don't even think about the outcome. Don't even think about how it would work. It's just a crazy idea that you could see a teacher trying with these resources. What could you do if you combined a virtual field trip to the kelp forest with maybe a thing link with informational text about what kelp forests are? How could you connect that to, drawing or what data could you collect or anything like that. Go ahead and pause me and write those down. That's right, downs. Write those downs. And if you think of a crazy idea and you're feeling brave, tweet it. Why not? Okay, so a block schedule. You might be wondering, what are you talking about? What's a block schedule? A block schedule is well, actually look right down here. Here it is. So here's an example of my block schedule. In fact, I'm going to open this up a little bit just so you can see a little bit more of what these schedules look like. So from 7:30 to 9:30, usually I'm up by 7:30. If I'm up at 8:30, that's fine too. But I have the way that I start my morning, and it always starts with journaling about my dreams, and then I do some meditation, and then some morning. And so what I've done is there's something called like the atomic habit, and it talks about like the trigger, the loop, I don't remember all the details, but each one of these little mini habits has some kind of, so like the mini habit is journaling. When I'm done journaling, I get to do a little meditation. Maybe I put on some yummy smelling lotion, and then have, and that little like cue reward is really good for your brain. So then this was when I was doing digital class. This was my pre-class prep. Actually, there should be, and class. So these were the things that I would have to do. And then my self-care ideas, because I had a self-care time from 11 a.m. till 11 to 11:30, and then 3:30 to 4. And these were just ideas that I could do. I'm really enjoy the idea of quilting a few seams. It's really easy for me to take everything out in my craft room, and I tell myself just going to put one seam on, just one today, but I end up doing more. So what I suggest you do is really write down what is everything that you need to get done in a day, in a week, to be effective at this, do you think? Because nobody knows. Nobody knows. We're all just kind of like figuring it out together. So, and then put those things together. If you put them together in a way that makes sense to you, create categories. From those categories, create names for those blocks of times, and put some categories together. Maybe you'll have a PD session. I don't have to redo mine, obviously, because I don't have class anymore. Maybe that will be my PD time. So block scheduling and mini habits, they are so good for productivity, but they're also really, really good for self-care. Right here is a YouTube playlist that you can click on. So go ahead and hit pause. Even like stop this video and go on with your life and maybe come back to it. But really take a second to go look at what block scheduling is like. These videos are full of ladies who are much more entertaining than I am, and you do a better job of explaining it. So I don't know why I spend all that time explaining it when these ladies do, and gentlemen. I think it might be, and gentlemen, not certain. So pause me, go check them out, and I'll see you next time. The video is continuing, but you can go and check them out because they're cool. All right, welcome back. Next, we get into the lesson design. Okay, we've talked about like the human aspect of embracing something brand new. We've talked about really taking care of yourself. We've talked about building unplugged time just for you. And now we're going to talk scheduling, and now we're going to talk about lesson design. Really, truly, let's get to the nitty-gritty, super basic pieces that are really effective. What are you going to teach? Number one, what is it going to be? Is it going to be the at word chunk? Is it going to be double-digit subtraction? What is it that you're going to teach? And then how will you teach it? Especially when we're like this, there's something called total physical response that I learned when I was teaching VIP kids, which was teaching kids in China, teaching them English exactly like this. So that total physical response is things like, if you agree, touch your nose. We're going to go through the alphabet because we're focusing on vowels. And every time I get to a vowel, you're going to put your arms up like a V. And what's great about that is that it actually physically moving and learning at the same time, they're so beneficial to each other, and they're beneficial to the student. And what's really nice is that if you can get kids to cross this meridian in the body, it actually like builds all of this. which is awesome for learning. And then how will you know what they understand? What questions are you going to ask? Are they going to do a Flipgrid? Are they going to do a Padlet? Are they going to send you an email? How are you going to know where they are? For me, I deeply suggest doing things that track themselves, like Prodigy, Teach Your Monster to Read, quizzes. Quiz is, it's like a worksheet that grades itself, but it's not a worksheet, and it's super entertaining and the kids love it. It's like a Kahoot, but all of the questions are right there. So if you're curious about how all these things come together, this is the video that is how I run my digital second grade class, which of course is not going to look like it will in August, even if we're learning digitally come August. And then I think this is the last little piece, remote learning resources. These are some of the best stuff that I believe in that's out there. So Prodigy is completely free. It's, I think, first grade to 8th, and you can get all of your standards met. You can plan the standards. The kids play a game. They pretend to be they're this little wizard, and they run around slaying monsters and collecting pets and items. And as they're doing so, their magic will not work unless they get the math right. But what's great about Prodigy is that it's computer adapted. And so when the kids are struggling with a specific topic, it will give itself the ability to pull up some subtopics to fill some academic gaps. Epic is completely free. Kids can read books, they can take quizzes, and that gives you the perfect idea about where they are. Google Classroom is a place where you can put all of your stuff. And I'm not going over all these because these resources are better than anything I could tell you. Google Slides, like the one I'm using right now. Check out HyperDocs. Google Forms, that's really nice if you want self-graded. Well, I don't know. I think quizzes might be a little bit more fun, and you can make your own quizzes. Although Google Forms can be nice and quick. And then quizzes, stop it. If you don't know about quizzes, stop. Just go check it out right now. All right. If you're watching this, you're awesome. Go back to that earlier prompt. What were you hoping to get out of this course? So I'm going to go back to mine. I'm hoping to figure out how to teach during these times. Well, I gotta say, I didn't do a perfect job, and I'm pretty proud of the job I did. So for me, this course met all of my expectations. I'm open to suggestions. This was something that fell out of my head. I'm sure you've got great ideas in your head, and if you'd like to share them, please throw them my way. Here's my email address, and you can find me on Twitter. I'm Jenna, and I love teaching, and I love books. That's why my channel is like BookTube on one side and teacher stuff on the other. I also do Wednesday workshops, Q&A, completely open on Wednesdays from noon. And I do believe that, I think I'm going to share it. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. Just keep your ears open for something coming Wednesdays as well. I am going to do my live wrap up and for May, and you don't need to know that because you're about this. So I'm just going to go. Let me know if you have any questions, anything I could do to make this course better. And I wish you all the best. Please take care of yourselves. And I am sending you all my love. Bye.